talk about the big one. So we've already had one big boy clash in Nigeria versus Cameroon. Let's talk about the other big boy clash involving host nation Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal. Cote d'Ivoire came into this because they got a bit of a reprieve. They got a bit of a reprieve there with Morocco beating Zambia, and that's what allowed them to get into the round of 16. And they take on the Senegalese, who are the most perfect team in the competition. 3 games played, none lost. I think they have they conceded yet?
No,
They've conceded one against Cameroon.
One against Cameroon. So
Yeah, they conceded
one against Cameroon. So
so.
they are perfect in this one. But guys, the Ivorians have been handed a second opportunity. I don't know how long they'll be here for. You were in Cote d'Ivoire when that
was in
piece of mud. Tell us what happened.
You see, I've never experienced anything wild in my life like what I saw last week Monday at Alassane Ouattara, a Bimpe Stadium. You know, we woke up, we were going to watch the Ghana game because Ghana's game was in the evening, and the ticketing was in such a way that you can watch the Ivorians game and watch. And you know the Ivorians like to party wherever we are. So as a Ghanaian, the Chroma head dog, you get it. So we are rooting for, because if Cote d'Ivoire is happy, everywhere is joyous. And I think the Bimpe Stadium is really cut off from where the Hofe Boignan Stadium, but they are all in Abidjan. When we were getting to the stadium, you can see a sea of orange entering the stadium. I have never seen anything like that before. At the media center for a bit, saw Ben, we had a chit-chat at the media center for a bit then, but I didn't watch the game. I watched it in the crowd, so I was in the Ivorian crowd. Came on in the second half. By the time I went, they were a goal down.
This was all against Equatorial
This was against Equatorial Guinea. They were already a goal down. So I watched the first half at the media center and I watched the second half in the field. So yeah, it's just a goal. They are still expectant. But there was just something about that day. Nothing was working for them. Like, you know, and the thing is, if you are watching on the screen and it's an offside in a VAR call, you can clearly see why the VAR is.
But the people in the stadium.
And they equalized with Crasso.
Yes.
The stadium was it just erupted. There was joy, kisses, hugs, everyone. I didn't know anyone from anywhere, but they're hugging me. Everyone is excited. Then VAR call, the goal is, the stadium was it just killed the stadium. Yeah. Then the second goal goes in. 2-0. Little bit of 3-0, people start leaving, people start walking out. 4-0, people start throwing things about. Wow. It was, I at a point I was scared. I'm not even going to lie. I know there's good coverage about the whole thing, but this is also part. And it was just how quick and swift they called every kind of misbehavior. And they didn't even have to even bring on police. These were the volunteers. They just entered the crowd. Just, they just calmed everything down. But for a moment I was scared, and you could really feel the anger of the Ivorians. They were just angry, distraught. Ben said some were lying on the ground. I have videos of people just like, it's like the world has come to an end for them. Like they've not seen an embarrassment like that before. And I was just
it wasn't
thinking,
in any country than Equatorial
Guinea. And I was like, these people really are football-loving people, because I know Ghanaians would have gotten upset, said a word or two, but everything was down. They were down, and some stayed to watch the Ghanaian game.
The Black
thinking the Black Stars will uplift their spirit back. It didn't happen. You see, the thing with the Ivorian team, I have realized it. I think someone tweeted it. I think it's just an overflow of talent. And I don't know if they don't know how to manage the talent or whatever it is. Because look at that midfield. Seko Fafana, Sangari, Frankesi. This is a dream midfield any other team would have. Even up front, Nicolas Pepe, even Simon Hadingra, Kwame from Fiorentina, they just have that. But I think they are also struggling with a bit of what Black Stars is going through, which is managing the team, setting the team out to play. Because whenever you have the quality there, irrespective of other problems, you see every administrative problems exist, but coaching problem too is a thing there. And we've had a situation whereby it's wild. I've never seen anything like that before. Mid-tournament, you are not out.
You sack your coach.
You sack your coach.
And as of the time they did, I'm sure they thought they were out.
No, you see, there was always hope, because you see how Ghana went about this. Waited till the end before they sacked. I was speaking to John, because I met John today, and he was talking about the fact that It's not even their coach is one of the highest paid, and it's not even just that. The country in and of itself is really disappointed with the play. This was not how anybody expected it. And it's a very francophone-dominated space. So wherever you are, you can see Burkina Faso flags, Guinea flags, Mali flags. And it's like every francophone country is expecting Ivory Coast to do well. And Abidjan is like the hub. And so wherever you pass, you just have, and they like Ghanaians too. Hello, Ghana, Monsieur Ghana. What's happening? I'm like, my people jouer ballon, ce n'est pas bon. They are just not good in playing football. So it was a wild experience. And the reason it's at Yamoussoukro is because I think that's where Senegal is based. And Senegal topped their group.
So they get to stay.
This is a second chance for them.
Ben, Edwin. So now you are Côte d'Ivoire. You've been handed this opportunity. You fired your coach. There's MS Faye, ex-player, who's now handling that, who, by the way, his record with the Ivorian under-23 is pathetic. So lots of people are very skeptical. How do they handle this? You've been given another chance to stay alive in the competition. But you take on a big problem in Senegal.
Before I get to how they handle the situation, let me be honest. I think we might see something like we saw in the Equatorial Guinea game against the Ivory Coast. I expect Senegal to batter the Ivory Coast today. I need to be honest before I get into the analysis. So how can they prevent that? What they can do is try to keep Senegal at bay for as long as possible.
I don't like the sound of that. You make it look like it's almost inevitable that Senegal will win.
I think it's inevitable. I've seen the Ivory Coast play at the tournament in their first 3 games, and it's been downhill since the first game. The first game they were playing at home, obviously, first game of the AFCON. They want to please their fans. They play to the best of their ability, and they get a very good win against Guinea-Bissau. Second game against Nigeria, they were much poorer than in their first game. They caused Nigeria a few problems, but not enough to think that, this is a team that you need to be worried about. Against Equatorial Guinea, the emotions just got to them. And I feel it's going to be the same thing against Senegal. Everyone expects them to lose. The players themselves, I'm sure they expect to lose this game. They do expect to lose this game. They don't have a proper coach. As you said, the coach who's taking over has a rotten record with the youth team. The players aren't playing well. They still don't have Sebastian Haller, from what I've read. Adingwa is just coming back from injury. I don't know how fit he is to start in this game. Their defense is horrendous. The players tend to lose focus quite a bit. And what's the worst thing you can do is lose focus against the Senegal team. They can punish you just like that. And once they score one, once they smell that blood in the water, they are going to keep coming at you. And if you concede early, I think that it's over for you. That is why I expect Ivory Coast, if they are to stand any chances in this game, keep Senegal at bay for as long as possible. You can't afford to concede in the first 15 minutes. Senegal are going to come at you with everything they've got in those first 15 minutes to try and kill the momentum of the game, try and get the fans to stay quiet, because they understand how important fans are to football. Once fans get on your side, once they start screaming, singing, chanting, getting behind the players in support, it tends to push, motivates the players quite a bit, gets them into the game a little more. Senegal don't want any of that. They're going to come really strong in those first 10, 15, 20 minutes and try and get a goal to quieten the crowd. If you are Ivory Coast, you need to keep it steady, keep it calm at the back. Don't overly commit into anything. Emotions, as I said, can get the better of you. You jump into tackles, you might miss one and get a red card. You can't afford to do that as well. The mistakes, keep them at a minimum. The mistakes we saw against Equatorial Guinea in particular, you need to keep them at a minimum. There was a point in which...
But wasn't that well, I think I get your point if you call them mistakes. I thought they were a bit too gung-ho. You are just 1-0 down and already you are overcommitting.
You are overcommitting. That is fine. You pushed a lot more players forward because you need to score a goal. Sometimes at the start of the game, you feel that you might need a goal to, make your chances of qualifying to the next round a little stronger. And that is what might convince Ivory Coast to come out strong in that first half or come out strong in the first 15 minutes. If you try to match up with Senegal, with the quality of the players they have on the pitch, I think you are going to get beaten. You need to keep it tight at the back. The football that Senegal have played at this tournament, it's not just the interplay in midfield, it's the transition from back to front, the way they are able to move right from defense into attack in just 3 passes. That has hurt a lot of teams, or the 3 teams they faced so far at the tournament. They are able to hurt you in various ways. So it's important for the Ivory Coast to keep it tight as much as possible, take the few opportunities they are going to allow. And I emphasize few because Senegal rarely lets teams pass them into obvious attacking positions. I think Cameroon so far at the tournament are the team that have worried them the most, and that was when Senegal were 2-0 up. When it got to 2-1, they had one chance to equalize, make it certain. They didn't take it, and Senegal went right over and scored. So it's important that the Ivory Coast take their chances. Players like Pepe, if he starts, I don't know if he's going to start. Has he earned the starting position? Whenever he's come on,
whenever I've watched him play,
yeah, I've not been convinced.
I don't know about Ale though.
Convinced by him.
He's not available.
Yeah, Ale is not going to be available. That's a huge miss, and
they've not had the chance to, I think, use him in this competition.
Yeah. No. They haven't, and it's very demoralizing for a team who have identified that these are your 2 best players. These are the 2 players you are riding your hopes on. Sebastian Haller to get you the goals, Simon Adingra to be a menace for defenders. And then you go into the tournament and they are not available. You are facing teams that you are expected to beat, or teams that you are expected to at least match up to, and you don't have any players who can either run through your defense or create maybe a situation where they can show a little bit of individual quality. You don't have a striker who can take those half chances and turn them into wonderful goals like Haller is used to doing. And it's just affected them throughout the tournament. And without them in this game as well, I don't see any situation in which Senegal do not win this game, honestly.
I disagree. The only reason I disagree is I'm not saying Ivory Coast would win. I think Senegal are the favorites, but it's not going to be a battering. You see, first thing, this is a country who is really down, and I think you saw the expression on the Ivorians' face. Yeah. I think you rarely get second chances like these. So imagine all the battering these Ghanaian players have gone through, if say Ghana, and then you have another chance at it playing at home. Secondly, I think the mistake, what happened in Equatorial Guinea, there was too much chopping and changing of the side that faced Nigeria. Okay. Yes, they lost to Nigeria, but if you watch that game, Nigeria were not this exquisite perform. Yeah. They were just compact at the back. Had this another soft penalty, in my opinion, scored it, closed up, and Ivory Coast couldn't create any chance. He shouldn't have dropped Aurier in that third game. Crasso should have started that third game. Nicolas Pepe, sometimes I expect some football intelligence, because in that first half, had he gone down by that tackle that the Equatorial Guineans lunged in, they go up, shut Equatorial Guinea down. And in as much as Senegal has this air of invincibility about them, I really saw them at their weak level against Cameroon. Okay. You talked about that Magri chance. If Magri had put that ball in, that match, it's a tie.
Or even in Kudu with his.
They missed that. Yeah. And Cameroon are not that brilliant. We saw that against Nigeria. Cameroon are not that brilliant. Against Guinea, they struggled a bit to even cross the line. They are compact and all, but I have seen AFCONs whereby Nigeria were brilliant. That's the last AFCON. In the group stage, they beat Egypt. They beat everything. 9 out of 9. They go into the knockout stage and they get knocked out by Tunisia. It happens. These things tend to happen. And in as much as, like I'm saying, Senegal are the favorites, I still think that it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be tighter than we would all imagine. They might win by a goal, but Ivory Coast are going to give it their all. And they just shouldn't chop and change. I think the chop and changing is not necessary. Stick with the team you played with your first game and your second game. Because why is Willy Bolly starting that second game? I didn't see why Willy Bolly was supposed to start that second game. His defending was atrocious to begin with. You watch the first goal Insue scored. He just went through the Ivorian defense. Nobody put in a tackle in, nobody put in a challenge in. I think they will learn from that. And they do have the potential to score. You see that Crasso goal that was disallowed. Yeah. It's not highlighted a lot, but that finishing was top-notch. So they do have the strikers, even if they don't have Halle. They do have players that can threaten. Senegal would win. I'm not saying Ivory Coast will win. Senegal will win. But it will be tighter than...
It will be close. All right, guys. Predictions. There are 2 games today. Cape Verde, Mauritania, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire. Predictions.
I expect Cape Verde, Mauritania to go to penalties.
Oh, you want to see the drama of the shootout?
I expect it to go to penalties. And I expect Cape Verde to win that one.
Okay, so Cape Verde to win on penalties. On penalties.
Cape Verde would beat Mauritania 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, okay. And
the second
Ivory Coast, Senegal would rather go to extra time, where Senegal wins in extra time.
I'm looking at Senegal winning by 3-0.
Yes. Why?
That Ivory Coast.
Why do you want to destroy?
There's no discipline in that team. There's no discipline in that defense. We saw that against Equatorial Guinea. They concede one, and everything is out of the window. And
what if in this game they score first?
If they score first, I think it makes their task a little easier for them, because we've not seen Senegal go behind. Everyone is wondering how they are going to react. But you look at players like Mane, you look at Diallo up front, even in midfield with Lamine Camara. There's quality on the pitch, but where they have me is there's so much quality on the bench that they can call upon to change anything. Nicholas Jackson, Idrissa Gana Gueye, who doesn't get a start anyway for this. If Ismail Assar doesn't start, he is an option as well. So there's so much quality on the bench and on the pitch for Senegal for them not to be beating this Ivorian team really easily.